Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bisola Orimalade, the Marketing Manager at Migrate IT. Thank you for being part of the live event today, where we'll explore why and how to migrate from Microsoft GP. So who are we? Migrate IT is a proud Microsoft solution partner providing comprehensive end-to-end services in consulting, implementation, and business as usual support for Dynamics 365, Business Central, and finance and supply chain. Our expertise extends across the full spectrum of CRM solution, including Dynamics 365 for sales, marketing, customer service, field service, project operation, and HR. Additionally, we provide managed services for Zoho to support your cloud infrastructure needs. If you have any questions during the webinar, please do not hesitate to use the question and answer section, and we will answer your question at the end. I will now hand you over to Peter Jockel, who will guide you through the session this afternoon. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you. I appreciate being here, and thank you for the introduction. So this is the slide to make sure that we're attending the right webinar. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, please toss them up in the chat bar and we will talk about them later. This is the slide to make sure that the right person is presenting. And the reason that I'm doing this is we are an independent organization that is helping our friends at Mercurius to assist companies make the right decision in moving from their current GP environment and doing that in a more efficient and productive manner. So the reason that I'm doing this here is I've got over 30 years of experience implementing, evaluating, and fixing broken ERP projects. We are no longer in the business of implementing or selling software. So everything that we do, including working with this tool for GP folks, is to help them achieve better success faster on their next ERP project. So the question is, why migrate? So there's a lot of traditional, discussions right now that people are talking about. It's the announcement of GP end of life. Moving to the cloud, perhaps. The server in the closet is starting to smoke. That's certainly a good reason. But let me suggest another reason that it's a really good time to think about migrating. Number one, it's probably the best way in the Microsoft technology stack to make or take advantage of AI. There's probably no other place in all of the Microsoft programs that take advantage of AI more than the ERP products that they have that are successors to your GP. And the other suggestion, let me talk to you about the availability of resources. The GP, for example, a lot of folks coming off the GP are going to be moving to BC as an example. And BC is one of the most, or probably the most, the fastest selling ERP, mid-market ERP package in the history of ERP. So what that means is a tremendous amount of stress on the system of people that are buying it for the first time and implementing it. Now, add that to the rush of 20, 30,000, I'm not sure of the exact number, of folks coming from GP and moving over, to that platform. That's going to create a tremendous amount of stress on the system. So as you start thinking about your migration plans, if everybody waits to the last minute, the resources are not going to be available. So as we do these evaluations that we're going to walk you through today, is we are starting to see that people are thinking more about moving up their migration plans so that they don't get stuck a year or 2 years down the road when the resources aren't available, and really good resources that potentially are available could be expensive or could already be taken up. So you have all the really great reasons to move to the cloud. Again, the AI is a great reason, but think in terms of availability of resources and think in terms of how you want to plan to make sure that you're getting the best resources and best plan, for your business. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about how to migrate. And how to migrate, the key there is, how do you start with a great foundation? Think about any time that in your business that you have gone about and moved to a new ERP system. I'm sure that everybody remembers that it was a smooth, easy process. Everything happened on time and on budget, and there were no headaches. So what we want to do here is we want to make sure that we have that same experience of making sure that this is the best possible move to a new ERP system that you've ever had. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to start with the presentation of something called Discover. Now, Discover is going to allow you to create that critical set of business requirements that you need to start the evaluation and move to a new ERP system. Every single ERP project has to start with a great set of requirements. And we're talking about business requirements. What is it that you need the new ERP system to be able to do for your company? Not what is the software doing today, not how do your requirements match against other systems, but we want to start off with, what is it that you need to have in your new software so that you can be a great business? And again, don't think in terms of what is your software doing for you today. Think in terms of, what do I need the software to do tomorrow when I implement a new system? So if you think about that process of gathering requirements, there's been a couple of ways traditionally that that's been handled. You can get free tools on the internet, and you can have companies that sell software provide you with tools to do a requirements analysis. What you will typically find is that those tools are about a quarter-inch deep, not really digging into the critical business requirements that you're going to have. And they're typically designed as a sales or marketing tool to push you in the direction of a specific ERP solution. So that's not a great, that's not a great solution, because again, those requirements are going to create the basic foundation of that implementation plan and the process for implementing that great new solution for you. On the other side, I have seen and been, part of 30 years of this industry, and there are the more traditional consultant-led ERP requirements studies. I have seen those done with studies based in Excel and in Word documents that literally are 10, 20, 30,000 questions. And those questions are typically delivered to you by a consulting team that comes, sits in your conference room, drinks your coffee, eats your bagels, and spends an incredible amount of time to get those questionnaires answered. However, the problem with those questionnaires is they're built backwards from ERP software and goes into specific features and functions in a specific product that then will point you in the direction of a product, which is not what we want to start with. We want to start with business requirements, not features and functions in any available ERP software. So the largest one of those projects that I had ever come in contact with was a large manufacturing firm that I consulted on when their project had missed their go live. And we found out that the company had spent $700,000 in 1 year with a very large partner gathering their requirements. And guess why their project failed? The project failed because they had missed critical requirements. And so what we want to do here is we want to give you the ability to capture your requirements at the fraction of the cost and time of any type of traditional ERP requirements gathering processes, but do it for you at a very, very high level of sophistication, so that what you're getting out of this system has information that typically you're not going to be able to have access to. And here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to show you some screens of this product that we use called Discover. And the keys that I want to show you here are the ease of input. How easy is it to input, and how fast can we get our data into here so that you have meaningful data? And then the depth of reporting that comes out of this very quick and efficient methodology for capturing your business requirements. I want you to remember that what you're going to see, the tool that you're going to see that we're going to make available to you, everything in here is data driven. It's software agnostic. This is not intended to drive you in the direction of a certain ERP solution. This is intended to give you the data so that you understand how you fit into ERP solutions. And the other piece is that we want to be able to quickly and efficiently help the Mercurius team understand what kind of budget from a standpoint of requirements of hours and resources it would take to do a project based on those requirements. So as we say, this is a PowerPoint, but the tool is in the cloud. And if you think about this, if we are all talking about moving our ERP solution to the cloud because of the benefits of the cloud, why isn't the evaluation moving to the cloud? And that's what we want to do for you here. So let's start this off with our data entry screen. Absolute genius here. What you're going to see here is you will see this screen, and on the side here, you're going to have your functional requirements laid out in sections that are very similar to how you're familiar to seeing them in GP. Folks that run GP, they're used to looking at the general ledger, accounts payables, accounts receivables, etc. What we do is we lay out on this side here, all of those general system areas, so that somebody, that's interested in inventory would be in the inventory section. We're looking here at the, general ledger inside the financials. Now, the way this works is that you will take a look at a series of questions that are business function, that ask about business functionality that you need, not features and functions, but this wants to understand, is this critical? Are these critical business requirements, not features and functions in a specific software? So when you're using this easy interface, is you read the question and you try to understand, in terms of your business, is this something that we're going to need down the road? And the way you answer this is, if that requirement, that business requirement, is something that you absolutely positively can't live without in your new software, then you answer that as a must. If this is something that it's not completely critical, but falls just below that absolutely positively need to have it, then what you do is you answer the question as a should. And then those things that are aspirational in terms of, oh my gosh, if we could do all of these musts and shoulds, which form the basis of being able to run our business, if we could add these other pieces, then that would be an amazing solution. And so those are those phase 2 coulds. Those are those aspirational pieces of the software that you could dream of having when you have that new solution. Also pretty simple is if you read one of these requirements and you look at it and say, yeah, we're never going to need that, you just answer it as a not. On the back end here, there's also a nice answer, meaning unsure. So if you go through this list of questions based on your requirements and you're unsure of what the question means, or if you're not positive if this is something that you're going to require in the future, this is an opportunity to mark it as an unsure, and then you speak with your friends at Mercurius, and they, their consulting resources are able to walk you through it and say, okay, this is what this is asking for, or this is how we see your business, and whether or not, this is a not, a must-have, etc. Very simple and easy. Now, what we have found, and we're getting close to having done this for close to 100 GP folks, and all over the world, there are, I believe, close to thousands of these having been done for folks on GP. What we're finding is that typically it takes somebody about 2 weeks to fill out one of these questionnaires. So what does 2 weeks mean? 2 weeks of full time? No, it means 2 weeks people set aside about 20 minutes to a half hour every morning. And by the time a week or two elapses, they have completely filled this out, as opposed to weeks and months of any other traditional methodology for doing this. Here's the key: is we had somebody that had to have this information absolutely overnight, so to speak, and they were able to complete this on the weekend without any stress. Now, remember, we talked about having this, having these questions laid out by business functional requirements, as you're familiar with seeing in your GP. Here's a brilliant piece of this software that we take advantage of for our for the folks that we work with. What we will do is we will have them fill out those requirements, and then we will turn around and flip a switch and reorder those requirements in a workflow manner. So what we're seeing here is the answers that you gave in the previous screen, but now they're ordered in a business workflow. So here we're looking at something called, here we're looking at the workflow for order to cash. What this does for folks is it allows them to rethink and re-look at the way their requirements have been answered in a different format. This creates all kinds of interesting discussions, aha moments, and conversations, within an organization and with your, your consulting friends. So this is that next level of sophistication, so that you have a better understanding of how those internal business requirements that you've thought of and entered, how those fit into a workflow, and this may add, change, or delete how you've answered those questions. So very, very nice, very powerful capability. Again, about 2 weeks on average, and as quick as over a weekend to answer these. And then we jump right into the reporting. Now, this is the interesting part, is for a lot of folks, this is all they care about. At an executive level, they're interested, for example, this customer filled this out. They were interested in taking their current GP solution and moving it to BC, Business Central. The only thing they wanted to know was, on these critical, musts, shoulds, and coulds, what was the match off the shelf of our business requirements to Business Central? So green line are all the areas where there is a off-the-shelf absolute fit, and then we also have some areas where we talk about there's a potential, semi-fit. We need some third-party solutions, and I want to mention those in the BC world here in a second, or where there is an actual gap. So most people will look at this and they'll see that there are these high level of fit. And that's it. All right, let's talk to our friends at Mercurius and let's put together the implementation plan. The area when we move to BC, where you need a product to fill some gaps, that is a completely different technology in the cloud than you're used to on GP. On GP, you're used to having third-party products, ISVs, et cetera, and they all work a little bit differently. And when you do an upgrade, it's all very exciting because they all work differently. And so you have to coordinate all this stuff. This works completely differently in the cloud with BC. So what you're going to get with BC in the cloud is you're going to be working with parties and partners that have solutions that work just as if they were Microsoft solutions. They come out of the Microsoft quote unquote app store, where they have to be guaranteed to work seamlessly when Microsoft does an update to your BC. So don't think in terms of, having some gaps fit by some, third-party solutions in the way you used to think about it in the what I call the bad old days, the on-premise bad old days. It's going to be completely different. But again, this here for most folks, this tells them that we did this program as an insurance policy to make sure that our move from GP, in this case to BC, is going to be a great experience and a great fit. This is what we needed to see. Those green lines, those are key to everything. Let's rock and roll. Let's get the folks from Mercurius to put that implementation plan together for us. The other way that we could take a look at those requirements is we could say, okay, what about by critical business processes? How does a software off the shelf fit our critical business requirements in business process flow view? Remember we showed you that input screen and how we flipped it from just modules as you're used to in GP to more of a software business process flow. Well, this gives you that same data, and this allows you to view the data as here's all that blue that's right off the shelf, from BC. And then we have some other colors where we're using some other solutions to fill in the rest of the requirements. Again, if I'm looking at this tells me that, boy, I've almost got a perfect fit. And this is what you want to be able to see out of the solution. So this is at a high level, the fit. This software also drills down into every single line item of functionality and comes back and explains to you for every single line we entered, and you can sort those by must, shoulds, or coulds. It tells you, is this a fit? Is this a partial fit? Do we need another solution to help fill this out? So at the high level, you get this level of reporting, but it goes down to the detailed granular level so that the folks that are interested in the details and on an implementation, devil's in the details, they're able to see that reporting as well. So this is the first half critical part of this. And what this gives you is we put in our business requirements. How do those match against BC in this case? And we're able to see that in a great level of detail. The next piece that's critical for folks is what is the high level, what we call ROM, rough order of magnitude. Rough order of magnitude automatically, based on hundreds of projects where companies had similar requirements and went to the BC, and here are the types of resources and the types of hours that are needed to complete that type of project. And that gives you that real quick understanding of what this project is going to take. Now, inside the tool, your team at Mercurius can work with you in a very interactive, detailed manner of adjusting that ROM, because the rough order of magnitude is automated, and it may come out with some, requirements that you actually have in-house. And so they can go back into a tool like this and adjust what those hours and resources are very quickly and efficiently. This is a completely different interface than the bad old spreadsheet days where you had to make sure all the links were right, etc. So this is this automated tool, again, data-driven from hundreds of other projects. That's it. Now, here's the best part of this. The delivery and execution of this requirements discover survey is fully funded by Microsoft. So we work with our friends at Mercurius to deliver these for you as the end user that's interested in moving from GP. The only pressure that I would put on anybody is the following. The data that comes out of this system is going to age very well. So if you need the data a week from today for your implementation, if you need it a month, if you need it a year from today, that data is still going to be good and valuable for you. The key is, because it is such a successful program, Microsoft may cut the funding for it any minute. And so we don't know when they're going to stop paying us to do this on your behalf. So here's what my suggestion is. There's no stress to do anything from our part, but take advantage of this while we can get you in the queue to have Microsoft fund this for you. And then if you don't need the data for a month or several months, it's on the shelf. And as updates happen to the program, we can rerun your data or re-enter some of your data so that everything, all your requirements are up to the minute. So that would be my only, that would be my only advice. Take advantage of this while we can have Microsoft, who has more money than I believe everybody else on this call, while they're paying for this. And that's it. This is simple. This is easy. Like I said, we've had close to 100 GP customers work on this with us. All of them have been ecstatic with the speed and the results of the data they're getting out of here. And if there's any questions, I'm going to put up the data for our friends at Mercurius on how you can contact them to take advantage of this. And I believe I beat the typical TED Talk. No, I didn't, but we had more slides than typical. So if there's any questions, anybody has anything, we're here to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Peter. I've got a few questions here for you.
Yes.
Okay, so the first question is, what should we keep in mind when moving data from Microsoft Dynamics GP to the cloud or Business Central?
Okay, that's a really great question. One of the things that you have to, one of the key things that we talk to folks about is beware of just doing it yourself with a spreadsheet. That is a quote unquote time saving, time and dollar saving methodology. But what ends up happening is that about halfway through the project, you realize that moving data into a spreadsheet and cleaning it yourself becomes problematic. You don't have the time, you don't have the expertise. And so what you really want to do is when it comes to the data cleaning and movement into a new ERP system, almost look at that as a separate project, because you don't want to tie that project into this new, ERP system and commingle the requirements and the dollars. And it's even more important today to have those separate projects, because it's absolutely critical that the GP data that you've amassed over the years is cleaned and fixed before it gets over into your BC. Because here's the key. The BC, while it takes advantage of all of these great new AI tools, those AI tools are just going to give you bad feedback and bad reports if that data doesn't come in impeccably clean. And that is hardly ever something that you want to do on your own, because companies typically don't have the expertise to do that. So separate that out from the ERP project as its own project and work with data experts, such as the folks at Mercurius, to make sure that those tasks are separated, but they're done professionally.
Brilliant, thank you. The second question is, how do we manage the customizations and third-party integrations we already have in GP when moving to the cloud? Yes. And then it says, will we need to redo or adjust them, or can we carry them as it is?
Yeah, so here's the first thought, is there is actually a lot of functionality that you're going to see in BC that hopefully gets rid of ISVs or third-party solutions or customizations that you would need to carry forward. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have this requirement study identify where those customizations and third-party solutions are done away with. And then if you absolutely have to take some of these ISVs forward, make sure that you're dealing with somebody that has taken that on-premise solution that works in GP, and they have built that BC specific solution that Microsoft gives the stamp of approval, so that when you move that functionality forward, what you have is the ability to upgrade, just like the core BC itself, when Microsoft upgrades that for everyone. So this is a very specific process. You want to make sure, first of all, that those customizations that you've created haven't been replaced by functionality that's off the shelf. So that's number one. And then you want to make sure that whatever third-party solution you have, they have a great program to move you forward to BC, for example. And then, because this all runs in the Microsoft technology stack, you may want to take a look at customizations that you've built using various tools today, and instead do them in something like the Power Platform, where all of these things are designed to work together more efficiently, so that you're not stuck with some odd programs and methodologies for creating custom requirements that really don't fit into the core central piece of the software. Did I put everyone to sleep?
Thank you very much, Peter. I had you on mute.
Okay.
The third question says, what kind of cost savings or return on investment can we expect by switching from Dynamics 365, by switching from GP to cloud? Are there any examples or estimates you can share?
So here's what I'm going to do is I'm not going to speak on things that I'm not an expert at. There is incredible amount of literature available, to partners like Mercurius, where they talk very specifically on the cost savings of moving GP to the cloud. And I would like those questions to be directed to the Mercurius folks. What I will say is that in our experience, this Discover survey process can save up to 80 to 90% of the time and money that people typically invest at the start of their ERP project in gathering requirements. And now that most precious commodity of time and money can be better put to use on the implementation project, and making sure that that gets kicked off faster, and you've saved all that time and money on the important stuff because you've used this Discover up front.
Okay, thank you. Final question, Peter. How long does it usually take to fully migrate from GP to the Business Central?
So I think there are some estimates out there that typical projects are in the 4 to 6 month, stages. Again, this all depends because there are different types of companies. If you're a service company that perhaps only takes, advantage of some of the financial pieces, that's one estimate. If you're a manufacturing distribution company, that's a completely different scenario. But again, the interesting thing about running one of these Discover sessions is it's going to give you that instantaneously in that rough order of magnitude reporting, so that you can get a very good, estimate as part of, running the Discover.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. That's all I have for you.
You're welcome.
So, and thank you everyone for attending this live event. If you have any questions, you would like to have a conversation with one of our team members regarding migrating from GP, please email may.a@mercurius.it. I will be sending you an email again this afternoon, and I will give you all the information on there. And if you have any further questions, please just reply to my email and I will get that answered for you. And also we have a library of webinars on our website at www.mercuriusit.com. You can visit that. We've got webinars on we've got webinars on Business Central, on CRM, we have a library of webinars. So if you just pop over to our website and just browse and have a watch. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and we'll look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you.